Call your sponsor.
Call you sponsor.
Call
you
Call
sponsor.
your
Call you
sponsor.
sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor.
And we're back. Hi, Mitzi.
Hi, Sam.
So I guess we should start with our primary purpose like we always do.
Yes.
Our
The primary purpose is for Misty and Sam to grow our
their
friendship and maybe help others.
Help others. Maybe help others. So, oh God.
Yeah, what's our topic today? What is it?
God.
Wow.
G-O-D. All caps, bold, underline, G-O-D. God.
Highlighted.
Oh God.
All right.
Yeah. Where do we even start? It's, I guess the reason why I thought of this as one of our topics is because it was something that consistently comes up. When I came in, I always heard this is a not a religious program, but a spiritual program.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for people who've already been there.
Yeah, I love that.
So I heard all these kind of things, and I think it can potentially be a barrier for people. Like, I think it even says in our literature, like, someone was sharing their experience, their face lit up, and then they hear the answer is God or spirituality, and then their face,
Mm-hmm.
goes back into this slump because there's a lot of baggage, shall we say,
Mm-hmm.
that can go around that word that still sometimes does for me. So I thought it might be wonderful for us to discuss and share our experience and tips and tricks and everything God.
Well, God. Okay. I think that's great. I really do. And I love how it talks about in the 12 and 12 that sometimes having a higher power is harder for those who have had a lot of experience with religion than those who've had none at all.
That's been my experience. Tell me your whole coming to God moment.
I had a mom that flirted with religion. And by that, I mean her parents were Catholics, so we rebelled and were Episcopalian, right? And Episcopalians are diet Catholics, was my understanding. And also, by flirted with religion, I mean we only went when she was single and would flirt with somebody who was going there. And I really liked it. On the days that she was too sick to go, I remember lining up all my stuffed animals and preaching to them and being like, and God told you, blah, blah, blah. So I was on fire with it and had different friends that took me all the different, like the Baptist church and all of it. And I just wore it like a loose garment. So when I walked in the rooms and it said God, it is like what they say. Like I wasn't appalled by it and I wasn't into it either way. And they said your God can be anything. And my favorite person on earth was my grandpa, and he had passed away. So I was like, okay, it's my grandpa. And then they were like, it could be a Coke machine. I was like, that sounds good. I'll take a Coke machine. But for years and years, it was the popcorn ceiling God of just whenever I needed to pray, I would lay in bed, look up at the popcorn ceiling and be like, please help me out of this mess. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling a connection as much until the last few years when I've thought of it as a higher self, like a higher part of me. What was your experience?
Well, I come from the former believer, it does talk, 12 and 12 in the 12 and 12 in step 2, I really resonate because it goes through all these different types of, the former believer, the Santa Claus god, the belligerent one, like all these different types of believing. And I came in as thinking that there was a higher power, but he, she, it, whatever, did not really care about me because they weren't giving me things that I wanted.
Yeah,
The
Santa Claus.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just became intellectually self-sufficient. And, I think it says throughout the literature of it's the God of intellect, right? My thoughts are what are true, and that's reality. And it's taken me a bit to really see like, oh, the great reality deep within. I love this thing of higher self, and so it's taken me a while. Like some of those old ideas are really deeply ingrained. Like prior to I was raised Catholic, and it was always like, oh, just go to God. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to God and pray for what I need. And then that became this whole Santa Claus thing. And for me, I think it really got me into this whole like superstition. I do this transactional kind of relationship, where it's even in sobriety. Like I've been sober X number of years. Where's my fill in the blank, thinking I need or deserve all this stuff because I've been quote unquote good,
I think that's such a great point because it reminds me of how we equate this God, this higher power, to what we understood of our relationship with our parents. And a lot of times it is transactional with the parent. Like if I behave good, I get rewarded. And I put that filter on my God. And when I was having a hard time, it felt like God didn't love me. And when other people were having good times, it felt like God loved them more than me. What other conclusions are we supposed to go to?
Yeah. It's what I mean, I totally identify. It's what I know,
Yeah. And I have had meetings with sponsees, and I can see it very clearly for them, where I'm like, if you're going through a hard time, it means that somebody trusts you up there, is what I tell them. Growing is stretching. It is pushing what you know to be comfortable and getting into the uncomfortable. And that is real love, right? Like real love from a parent isn't what I thought it was. Is that I'm supposed to protect a child from any type of harm or any type of bad feelings. Real love from a parent is holding their hand while they feel bad feelings.
Oh, God, that hits. That really hits. I go to the park and I see these kids and I see what comes up in me as I'm watching them play. They're all carefree and like don't even give a fuck, and I notice all this stuff that comes up in me, like be careful of this, or oh my God, they're gonna fall. I mean, I'm not saying this aloud, but I'm noticing all this stuff inside, and I'm like, that's how I was raised.
Cautionary.
Yeah.
It's not safe. The world isn't safe.
Not safe. Be careful. Watch out. It's like be on guard.
Yeah, be hyper vigilant. Have your shoulders up to your ears at all times.
Yeah. Or if you want something, you need to prove that you're worth, it's like this transactional, back to the transactional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I carry a lot of that. Wow. I love this whole conversation relating higher power to the parent. And yeah, that's exactly how I've dealt with my parents. They were Santa Claus people, like bring me, give me things, look, I've proven myself. And that doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's not a way to live in the world.
Because it's encouraging perfection, which none of us are going to get to. Perfection is impossible. But it tells us if we're perfect, we will get the goodie bag. And also that it's always in the future. Like it's not here right now. It's always, put off until the future. But the problem is we never get there. There's no there. And it's like, I completely relate to that. And then also my parent was a lot of disorganized attachment. So I would walk in the house and, hey, honey, did you have fun playing? Here's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And the next day I'd walk in at the same time and it's like, why are you so late? What are you doing? Where have you been? And it's like, I was walking into that house every day, like not sure what I would get and hyper vigilant. And that's what it is with it. It's mixed signals. Like, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Did that happen because I was bad? It's mind numbing.
It's interesting. As you're talking, I was just brought back. When I came in, I would have to say that my sponsor was my higher power initially, because I didn't trust anybody. And they were actually, thank goodness, that I landed with who I landed with, because they were really loving and kind. They showed me what unconditional love can look like. And they were a gentle listener. And, I think that was like my first like good orderly direction, God moment where it was like, it was my sponsor. And then slowly it became a home group, and then group of drunks in good orderly direction. And then, I guess as I've continued down, it's, kind of like what it says in the literature, the great reality deep within, where it goes back to you and, the higher self.
Right. And that relationship with ourself is really where it is. And it goes back to like, if I can create safety and love within me, then that's how I can see the outside world. And what I kept trying to get was safety and love from the outside world so I could feel it within me.
Oh God, that's so good.
And part of this God thing with the, 12 steps, I consider our literature to be divine and from some other higher being that just channeled through Bill and Bob, right? And when I feel like the intention is so pure, and what can get screwed up is all the people that do all these things. And that's where it starts to feel like, oh no, if I've been bad, I'm not going to get the goodies.
Yeah.
But the literature doesn't do that,
Yeah. No, I am 100 with you on this. And that the other piece of this for me is that pain isn't supposed to be happening.
Yes, exactly. And we all fall for it. It's like, I can know that on an intellectual level, and I can, say that with people I sponsor. But when it comes to me, I'm like, wait, I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling pain. What am I doing wrong? What is God doing wrong? What are other people doing wrong? This isn't supposed to be happening.
Yes. I mean, I think a lot of, like it says in our doctor's opinion, we drank for the sense of ease and comfort, right? And so wherever there's no ease and comfort, I question whether or not I'm doing something wrong, or it shouldn't be this way, or, whatever those things are.
Exactly. It's like I'm walking a tightrope, and if I step out of line, then bad things are going to happen to me. And so in that way, I'm not being authentically myself, right? Like I'm not being, and this is the impetus or the spine of ACA, which is different from AA, and we'll get there in a whatever. I'm still going for it. The belief of ACA is that we're all born perfect children of God. And those 0 to 5 years, we were diverted from being our true selves, and we had to abandon ourselves to take care of the people in our home, or dysfunction or survival, whatever it is. We did not get to feel the world was safe and be our fully authentic self. And to me, this has a lot to do with God, because all I'm looking for with this God and this relationship is that I can go through the world and feel like me and not be terrified that I'm in trouble or doing it wrong or somebody's going to find out or somebody's going to get me. Like, I'm just me and I might be in trouble, you know? That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it when it comes.
There's so many things that are coming up. There's two things that I'm just going to spit them out real quick so that I don't forget them, and then we can just revisit. So one is the thing about the house burning that I think, well, we've had the pleasure of knowing each other for some time now. And I think that there was this example that you had brought up about, oh God, it's so good because my house didn't burn down in the fire, you know? And it's like, well, what about the people next door? So there was that piece. And then the other piece is
Call
that
your
Sponsor.
sponsor. Call you
Call
sponsor.
your
Call you
sponsor.
sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your
New
sponsor.
episode tomorrow. Send us an email bcysponsor@gmail.com.